Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. This is Wayne Hall calling in again from Orlando, Florida. And this week we are on, of course, as you know, our men's only locker room. But we have two distinguished guests with us this week, guys. We have from up there in Claremont, Florida, Mr. Carlisle Holder. This gentleman is the CEO of Correctional Health Institutions, and this gentleman has been a warder for many years and a warder of one of the main prisons in the country, the Coleman Prison. Very successful gentleman, and we're glad to have him in the locker room this week with us. On the other side, we have uh, ex NFL football player, Mr. Quintus McDonald. You all know this gentleman was with us last week, but we had to get him back because the signal was not good and we did not want anyone to miss what he had to share with us. So I'm excited this week. I don't know about you all, but I'm excited. And these gentlemen are traveling, and guys, they took the time out of their busy schedule to be with us to make sure they share their perspective on how they feel about the Justice for My Jewel campaign. So, talking about locker room, I know a gentleman who knows locker room talk very well because as an ex-football player, this gentleman was in the locker room a lot. So, we're going to go over there to Mr. McDonald to hear from him his reasons why he got involved with the Justice for My Jewel campaign. We'll have further questions coming as we go through this interview, but we just want to know why, sir, did you get involved with this campaign?
Well, good evening, Brother Wayne, and to our primetime family and all of the men out there who are a part of this movement or are considering being a part of this movement. Um, to answer your question directly, I can answer that question in two words. The reason I got involved with Justice for My Jewel campaign, two words: the Crumps. Simple. The Crumps. When you talk about doing business, when I've been in business for myself for a very long time, for a very long time, and the key component for me in doing business is the integrity of the people that I will collaborate and join myself to. When being a part of the former company that we split out of, when that situation became apparent and evident that things were, there's a thing in business called the death spiral, and could see the spiral happening. And I sent Mr. Crump a message um, before we built the relationship that we are currently building. I sent him a message while we were still a part of the other company. Jewel had not been formalized. It had not been, I should I should say, it had not been presented. But I sent him a message via text, and I said to him, whatever it is that you're going to do next, count me in. Because I saw his passion for uh, getting these quality products into the hands of everyone around the world. His vision for getting the product into the hands of the least of these was the very same vision that I had, that I saw. It's amazing that we have Brother Holder here on the phone today, because I mean on the chat today, the locker room talk today, because one of the first places I took it, the products, um, was to the Women's Correctional Facility. I've been working with Wake County Women's Correction Facility since 2012. And I took the products there and started donating products to the women that I work with in an intimate way. So the two words, I kind of digressed and went down a trail, but the two words, the reason why my household is involved is simply because of the Crumps and their integrity. So it could be summed up in one word: integrity. Integrity is the reason why we're a part of Jewel.
Yes, sir. Appreciate that answer. And you bet I'll be coming back to you in a quick second. but I want to go over there to this gentleman, Mr. Carlisle Holder, currently on the turnpike, pulled over to talk to us. And I want to ask you, sir, it was never a reason of finance. You don't need any income from this company. You don't need anything to do with any financial issue whatsoever here. What is it, sir, that attracted you to this Justice for My Jewel campaign? Mr. Holder, can you hear me, sir? We seem to be having a volume issue with Mr. Holder's connection. Mr. Holder, can you hear me, sir? Mr. Holder, I'm going to ask you real quick, Mr. McDonald, can you call his name and see if he can hear you?
Brother Holder, can you hear me, Brother Holder?
All right. It seems to be a volume or connection issue with the audio, but you can still hear me, correct?
That is correct.
All right. We don't let technical difficulties stop us here because the message has to go on. But, come back to some of the things that you wanted to definitely have your audience hear, sir. um, you took this to a different level after getting involved in terms of how you're moving the message across the country. Tell us some of the things that you're doing to get this message spread based on that passion that you just described.
Well, yeah, I've been blessed. I've been blessed to have um, had a mindset. I was always taught from a young age how important relationships are, building and maintaining relationships. So I've been blessed to, because of the high level high school that I went to in New Jersey, and then going on to play Division I football, and then to have been blessed to play the highest level in the NFL. Throughout all of those stages of life, I've built relationships, and I have uh, taken care of those relationships through the tough times, through the great times. I've maintained those relationships, and I've been blessed to have relationships with individuals that are in high level business, financial arena, in the retail arena. I have tremendous relationships at the university. Um, I have relationships through my wife with other people at universities. So the spiritual thing to do for me is to deliver this solution to all of the high level people that I can, in the best way I can, to that they would be able to see that there is certainly an issue in our nation alone, let alone around the world globally, but there's an issue in our nation, and we have a solution for the issue. A solution does not mean I don't preach that we've got the one and only solution. What I let folks know is that we have a solution to the problem of mass hysterectomies across this land, down
Yes,
to
sir.
the age of early 20s. And from that perspective, I allow them to make a decision as to whether they want to collaborate and join with us directly, if they want to refer other people in other places, or if they want to defer and not get involved. And that doesn't disturb the relationship, because God will provide something else for us to do together in His kingdom.
Amen. I like that answer a lot, sir. Uh, straight to the point and from the heart. I want to try one more time to see if Mr. Holder can hear us. Mr. Holder, can you hear us, sir? All right. So Mr. Holder is definitely having some audio issues. But you know, last week when we were trying to, get you to speak your heart and mind, Mr. McDonald, you, you know, touched on the point of, men versus women on this particular issue that has been a taboo subject for a while. We spoke about, you know, us here in the locker room talking about a subject. Mr. Holder, can you hear us, sir?
Yes, I
There we
can
go.
hear.
Oh, we're having a tough connection there. If you
Mm.
can get to a spot, Mr. Holder, where you can pull over and it's clean, let's try that. I know you're on the turnpike, and we're grateful even for the fact that you're trying to get on, but we don't want to, put you in a peculiar position to not be safe or not have a good signal. So when you get to a spot, let us know. But Mr. McDonald, we were talking about the tabooness of a man, woman in one. What would you level, or what would you say to men about facing this issue head on and how we ought to treat it now that we know what's going on via this campaign, Justice for My Jewel?
Well, I just come direct, and the men that uh, God has placed in my circle of influence, um, we speak the language of kings. We understand that we are created kings and must take dominion in the land for the kingdom of heaven. So, as a king, one of the first things that we must do is protect. Provide, certainly, but protection is high on the list of things that a king must do. So we must get ourselves educated. So I do my best to give some very high level education, pique their interest, and say, look, man, I just throw the statistics. You've got a niece that's 17 years old. How would you feel taking your sister or your brother to the hospital to visit your niece, and the doctor is saying she's got to have a full hysterectomy? How does that make you feel? Or would you rather, as a king, sit back and say, well, I don't want to talk about that? I just cut to the chase, and I make it clear. I make it plain and simple that this is a subject matter that must be talked about. If you're uncomfortable, it's just the men. So be uncomfortable, but you will hear the statistics. Now you go and do your research. So I give statistics up front. If they don't want to continue the conversation, I'll give some statistics. I'll give some names, dioxin, furans, and talk about the fact that, well, many of these girls. Okay, so your daughter, she's probably using a tampon. Okay, if that's the case, then you're allowing your daughter to stop up and plug up what God made her body to release. Naturally, her body is built to release that, and you're saying it's okay as her father, that it's okay for her to plug that up and clog that up and create all kinds of issues in her body. So I put the onus on them. I just go direct, put the onus on the man as the head of the household, as the king in the land, to step up, get yourself educated. If you're not educated, get educated. If you are educated, then it's time to do something, man. It's time to take action. Period, point blank. And I cannot hear you, sir.
All right. How is this? Can you hear me now?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
All right. Hey, one thing I'm very certain about: when there is challenges, it means you're doing something good, and you're about to be exalted to greater heights. So I take this as a compliment when we do have some of these issues. But I was about to say to you, sir, You mentioned statistics that you provide for these men. Would you mind sharing, if you have, the statistics on even hysterectomies that are affecting our women in this country, sir?
Oh, absolutely. Now this is from research that I did 3 years ago now. 3 years ago, there were more than 600,000 hysterectomies being performed in the United States alone. And more than 2/3 of those 600,000 were in the African American, the black community, in the community of people with melanin in their skin. We are more than 2/3 of the hysterectomies being performed, and the age had gone from between 33 and 37, the average age, down to 25 and 26 years old. So there are far more non-melanin, non-melanated, I might have made up a word. It happens just about every Sunday with me, but there are more non-melanated women in this nation than there are women with melanin in their skin, and we make up 2/3 of the 600,000. And then the age has dropped from mid-30s down to mid-20s. They are, for all intents and purposes, sterilizing our race in many ways. So they're locking up our men, and then they're giving our women hysterectomies. And we, as kings in the land, have opportunity to do something about it. We are called and sent out to take dominion. So if we don't stand up and do something, we have no right to complain about anything going on. So when I talk to a man about this, and then I hear a man, that same man who wanted nothing to do with this, having a conversation about what number 45 is doing in the White House, dude, I don't want to hear that. We have opportunity. We've been called and chosen to move, and we've got opportunity to do something about a serious issue in this land that we've been given dominion over. And we do nothing? I don't want to hear about someone else. Take care of your own house first, period.
You know, it's one of the things I love about this locker room. Tough topics get discussed, and they get discussed with passion. And, you know, the locker room, guys, was created for this purpose, to have discussions about issues facing our women that would not normally be discussed in the open forums. And, you know, what you're hearing from Mr. McDonald is his heart. You're hearing some raw truth that, you know, we either face or we don't. But the truth is, you can't ignore the facts. And what's serious is that those numbers are astonishing. It is not acceptable that not only are we having 2/3 of the African American women having hysterectomies, but take a look at the ages. That is not acceptable. Now, moving forward, Mr. McDonald, as you travel the country and you bring this word of truth and facts, compassion about this campaign to the people, what would you say to those who are listening now on how they can play a role to spread this word without feeling that they're going to be shunned, or, you know, they're going to be in an area that has been taboo so long they don't know how to open those doors? What's your advice how to open that door, sir?
My advice on opening the door, number one, is to pray, and ask the Father to guide you, to show you your strengths. When you know your strengths, then you move in your strength. Even, I tell you, I'm headed out to Indianapolis first thing in the morning, and one of our team members out there is building a group of men specifically that are from that belong, and my battery's about to die, so I'll wrap this up. That belong to various churches, and what he's suggesting is that the men make a purchase and break down the packages and make sure that every church in your city has these samples in the women's room. Sample the liner, the moderate flow, the heavy flow, and the extra heavy flow. super heavy flow. Sample these products. Get the little sticker paper, put your link on it, and now you're sending out samples. You're creating a customer base, perhaps. I mean, I can't imagine every woman that has used this product. We've gotten a good report. Save one who didn't realize that the moderate pad had wings, and so she didn't even apply the pad properly, just in a rush to get it to use it, and she was embarrassed when she realized it and was excited to go back. She got to wait, okay, but she's excited to try it again, looking forward to trying it again. So when we get these products, you don't have to have your name on the link. Create your link to be whatever you want it to be. But let's get these samples to women. They don't need to know that it's you, that it's Deacon so-and-so or brother so-and-so from, the choir or the male chorus. They don't need to know those things. Just get them into the ladies' room. I can't imagine that the leadership in any or organized religious faith-based business or business, well, we're doing the King's business, the business of the Father. And we've got to change that mindset and understand that that's what we're called to do. So when we're doing the business of the Father, when we're taking dominion, then we can have these things in the washroom for the ladies to sample. And that's, I mean, what's is $30 a month going to destroy your wallet when you've been called to be a king? If it is, then you need to start speaking more things out of your mouth. Speak abundance out of your mouth. Speak financial blessings out of your mouth, and you'll be in position to do those things.
Wow, that's a powerful suggestion, sir. And I did hear you say that your battery is dying, but we're grateful that you not only took the time to share with us during your travels on the road as well, but that you shared some powerful pointers that can be applied immediately. Because, ladies and gentlemen, here's the raw truth while we sign up from the locker room today. Our women are at risk. Our women need the help. We are here every week to bring whatever information we can to highlight the problem and put a solution forward. You just heard from Mr. McDonald some great solutions. You just heard some great ideas on how to have conversations with other people about how to move from that old mindset of this is their problem and not mine. Now we need to come together as one to be able to resolve this issue. Guys, we're going to look forward to having Mr. Holder come back with us, hopefully next week, guys, when he is in a better location, and have him share his perspective also as to why he got involved, how we can do better to move this campaign across the country and the world, and how we can be better stewards of the gift God gave us. Mr. McDonald, God bless you, sir. Thank you for being with us. You are an amazing man, and may God continue to bless you in your journey across this country and across the world as you take this campaign with you to our men and women. And guys, have an amazing week. This show is officially over. Take care, guys.